Hello everybody, this is Jon Oldham from Harvey Cedars. Hard to believe that it is October already, and this weekend we have a Northeast Christian Conference here, and the roots go back all the way to Watchman Nee. And I don't know if you've ever read any of Watchman Nee's books or not, but very formational about the Holy Spirit, and just a life-changing, a little bit of a mystical, but he was a great man and has some number of great writings. His famous book, probably most famous book, is The Normal Christian Life. We're going to be packed out. We look forward to that. And then we have our couples conference coming up the first week of November, and we'd love to have you join us for that. It's always a wonderful time. As I always say, like if you remember the old Fram oil filters, they say, pay me now or pay me later. It's always good to invest in your marriage. And so we want to encourage you to maybe come to our couples weekend. So I'm here in the entry to the hotel, and one of the things that's interesting here is that this unit right here, and I don't know if you've been to the conference lately, this sits right into the entrance. You may say, what was that? What does that thing do? Well, this actually would generate the lights. Before electricity, this is how they used to light the old hotel. And so if you've ever seen a Western movie, when you go in, right, there's lights usually over the piano, and there's a stairway that goes up. But that light, it's not electric, it is gas. This was gas driven. And so you would have like carbonic acid in there, and it would turn, this would turn the water, which would agitate that. And over time, then it would build up some pressure, and then this would go off, and eventually it would then shut that off once the pressure of the gas went up through all the piping throughout the building. And each room had a little light on the wall and a little cockpit. You would turn it on and light the light. So that was all throughout, but that's how they used to light the old hotel years and years ago. Very interesting thing. And so the thought for the day, I was reading in John chapter 5, which is just after the Samaritan woman, right? Jesus talks to the Samaritan woman, which we talked about last month. Jesus is going to Jerusalem for one of the feasts, maybe the Passover. And he goes by the pool of Siloam, Bethsaida. And that was the pool that what was said, but that the angel would come down and stir the water. And so there was all around this pool, there were all kinds of people that were like probably blind, lepers, lame, all kinds of different disabilities would sit there. And they would want to get somebody to get them into the water so that they could be healed. And so the interesting thing about this, so Jesus comes by and Jesus stops and talks to the man. And he says, I've been crippled for 38 years. And he tells us for 38 years, those details are kind of important. And also talks about the feast. So think about this. At that time, there probably would have been thousands of people in Jerusalem, and every one of them walked by. And Jesus asked the question of the man, which is, he says, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? Now, what kind of question is that to someone who's been lame for 38 years? Of course he wants to be healed, but what does he say? He said, I don't have any friends that would help me get into the water to get healed. So what I thought about that, two things. One is that everybody else passed by. The thousands of people that were there for the Passover, for the feast, would pass by these people that were outcast and left behind and hurting and needy. Every one of them passed by except for Jesus. And he stopped and he healed him, right? He healed him because he said, get up and take your bed and go, right? And it was on a Sabbath day. Right, so that's the first thing, is that there were thousands of people and everybody else passed by Jesus, right? But he said, what his answer was when he asked, do you want to be healed? He said, I don't have any friends that would take me there, right? He didn't say, yes, I want to be healed. He said, I don't have any friends to get me to the pool to be healed, right? Now, he didn't realize who he was talking to. He didn't realize he was talking to Jesus, right, who had the power to heal him. Jesus is that oftentimes we don't realize how hopeless and helpless we really are. And it's only when we realize how hopeless and helpless, and there was no way to get into the pool to be healed, that Jesus comes and he touches us and he heals us when we need to be healed. I don't know what you're struggling with today, right? You may not be struggling with anything. And my prayer for you is that you get the eyes of Jesus and see those that are hurting around you and reach out to them, that everybody else passes by, and you help them, and you be the eyes and the ears and the feet and the hands of Jesus. If you're one that's hurting today, he is the one that can and will help you and heal you. And so from Harvey Cedars, right, as we take a look at John chapter 5 and the pool of Siloam, is that Jesus sees those that are hurting and we need to see those people too. Have a great day.